Hey guys, in today's video I want to break down a mix that I did recently for a track called What You Gonna Do. I want to show you how I mixed the track, what plugins did I use, why did I use them, and some other little tricks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, hit the notification button, drop a like. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. Let's get into the video. So this is how the session looks. I picked this session because I have the vocal stems, I have the beat stems, so this is going to be like a full tutorial on how I mix a track with drums, instruments. I have 70 tracks, that's with the sends included. I'm gonna play you each section of the track.
This is my story, and this is my song. Praise it. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here, which one you gonna choose? Yeah, y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing with no regard for salvation. Living life like vacation. Do what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here, which one you gonna choose? Every day's a battle, sometimes a little hard to handle, especially when I'm staying out of trouble, trying to stay on my hustle.
So this is how the track sounds with all the processing on. I'm gonna show you the mixer now. This is how the mixer looks. Decent amount of plugins. I like to keep the session pretty clean. What I want to do now is to bypass everything and play you a bit of the track without any processing, without any plugins, bypassing the plugins and bypassing the sends, bypassing the two-bus processing.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here, which one?
The verse.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back with mama.
And let's play a bit of the intro.
This is my story, and this is my song. Praising. This is my story. Every day's a battle, but I'm staying out of trouble, trying to stay on my hustle.
The first thing I want to do is show you the sends that I have. I'm basically using the template that I've showed you in a previous video. Let's start with the reverbs. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reverbs, a drum reverb. Let me show you that. It's a Valhalla room, large dark room, you can try it out. These are the drums without the reverb. I'm adding a space around the drums. Then I have a Valhalla room. Again, this one is a huge reverb. I've used it on the piano. It sounds something like this. And on the piano I've used another reverb. This is the vintage verb. So I have two reverbs on the piano. The second one sounds something like this. This one has a slow attack sort of, and with both it sounds something like this. It creates a really nice tail for the piano. I've used the same reverb on the string section, on the other piano, on the vocal is the seventh heaven. It sounds something like this.
Praising my Savior on a day.
That's used in the intro section. On the verse, I've used a different one. Valhalla room, it sounds something like this.
Since the age of 18, back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah.
The same room used on the hook.
What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here, which one you gonna choose? Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads.
I think that's all the reverbs that I've used. The other ones are unused. On the intro piano I have a long delay called long echo. On this piano right here After the delay, I have a brower motion. This is used to add a chorus type effect. I really like what it's doing. I also added the vintage verb. After the echo boy, the delay feels bigger and more diffuse. You can try it out using a different processing after the delay, like chorus flangers and things like that. On this piano, I have echo boy again.
This is my
Really subtle, adding just a touch of ambience. Same delay on the other pianos and on a pad. On the vocals I have a delay called replay. This is Echo Boy. This is how it sounds.
back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing with no regard for salvation. Living life like vacation. My soul was stolen.
Again, really subtle, just adding some space around the vocals. I think I've used the same on a few other vocals. You're gonna see that when I break down every single instrument. What else did I use? On the ad-libs, this one is longer and it sounds like this.
Change, ay, tame, ay.
That's what I've used on the ad-libs. I think that's it for the delays. I have a H delay here used on the intro section of the track. So basically this is the template that I'm using most of the time with reverbs and delays. What I want to do is play with the track without the sends and then engaging all the sends.
Walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing with no regard for salvation. Living life like vacation. My soul was starving. Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing with no regard.
So with all the sends, I'm adding ambience, but not that much, especially on the vocals and on the drums. I like to keep that up front. Now what I want to show you is the levels. I have Isotope Insight 2. Let's use just the levels. This is the level that I had the mix in the beginning without any processing. This is how I started. See what type of headroom I have.
Changed since the age of 18. Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing with no.
So I have around 8 dB of headroom. That's enough headroom for mixing. After I had the sends, something like this, I started with the 2-bus processing. BX Digital from Brainworks as a 2-bus EQ. I'm using the mono maker. I'm adding some stereo width, removing some of the nasty frequencies, around 300 and 500 hertz on the mono side.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18.
And on the stereo side, I'm removing around 400 and 500 again.
Down Martin doing my thing.
That's what I'm doing with the mid-side EQ. Next in the chain, I have the Tegeler Audio Manufacture Varitube compressor. This is a hardware compressor that I just got. I'm gonna do a few videos on the compressor too. Let me show you the compressor. I've added the compressor because it has tubes in it. So it adds a nice analog warmth to the sound. That's what I wanted with the Tegeler Audio Manufacture Vari compressor. I'm using it just for the color. You will see on the gain reduction meter that I think I'm shaving just 1 dB or maximum 2 dB of gain reduction.
My soul was starving, mind in the clouds like Marvin. Letting go of weed was the hardest. Thief and an accomplice, I was deep in it. Ain't have 1 foot, I had 2 feet in it. Drowning in the water of my.
The settings on the compressor, I have a slow attack, a really fast release. I have the sidechain at 60 Hz. Next in the chain is the creme. You already know that this is what I use on my 2-bus, the creme, and now the Varitube compressor. On the creme, let me show you the settings. I have a 2 dB boost at 100 Hz, 10K 2 dB. The compressor is at 2:1 ratio, slow attack and really fast release. I'm getting maybe 2 dB of gain reduction, so not that much. Now I'm gonna play with the track without the 2-bus processing. Then I'm gonna engage all the 2-bus processing, the mid-side EQ, the creme, and the Varitube compressor.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing. everything with no regard. For we was the hardest. Thief and an accomplice. I was deep in it. Ain't have 1 foot, I had 2 feet in it. Drowning in the water of my sins, I was sinking in it. Yeah, I've been forgiven. Won't fall, won't look back. The wages of sin is death.
Another plugin that I have on my tubas is this black box analog. This is a saturator, but I'm using it in parallel. I'm blending just 20% of the process signal.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's...
It's a very subtle effect. Next, let's see what I have on the drums. Processed. I don't have a lot of processing on the drums. I don't like to process already processed sample drums, just do the most necessary processing. And this is how the drum sounds with the processing. On most of the channels I have the BX console, the SSL 4000E from Plugin Alliance. I'm using it just to add the TMT, the analog modeling of the console. I'm just adding an EQ, I'm removing some of the 100 Hz. On the first snare, I'm not doing anything. The second snare is present just in the hook. I'm adding the FabFilter Volcano 2. This is a filter plugin. Without it. So it's adding a bit of character. The second kick is the kick from the verse. I have the BX console. I'm not doing that much. I'm adding just a high pass filter at 20 Hz, just removing some of that sub information. Next, on the snare. I have a FabFilter Pro Q2, just cutting around the 5K. That frequency sounded really harsh to me and I removed it just a tiny bit. I'm also adding the Valhalla room, the drum reverb. On the hi-hat I have more processing. That was with the processing, this is without. On the BX console, I'm removing a lot of low end and mid frequencies. I'm also removing the 2K range, this frequency. I wanted the hi-hat to be more in the background and not so up front. That's why I've removed the 2K. I have a shaper box doing some panning. It's really subtle, but it adds some movement to the hi-hat. Then the last plugin, Smack Attack from Waves, just to cut some sustain to make the hi-hat sharper and to add some attack. And I'm blending the dry with the wet signal. This is the process signal and this is what I'm blending to the original signal. That's the processing on the hi-hat. On the open hi-hat, no processing, a pan automation. Next, in the intro, we have this percussion element that is really important for the intro. Just a hit and a fill. Let me show what processing I did on this. I have removed some of the low frequencies. I have removed some 500 Hz. I've added some 4K. Then I've added a short gate reverb from Valhalla Room. After that, a decapitator. Last in the chain is a compressor. Also adding some low end. That's what I did on that. Let's see, on the crash, not that important. Remove some of the low end, added some shine. That's it. Again, on the timpani, I've added the same reverb as on all of the drums. On the rim shot, the rim shot is just in the bridge section. I'm using the fab filter again, adding some resonance, using it as a low pass filter. I wanted to create some ambience. Let me play you the drums without any processing and then with the processing. I forgot to mention on the drum bass I have the HG2 again, really distorted, adding a lot of character, but I'm using it just really low, 9% as you can see, and that's what I have on the drum bass. This is with processing. This little Havox is a chant. Let me show that too. No processing, with processing. Little altar boy. As you can see, I have the pitch in the format at -6. Blended, drive, sounds really cool. It's adding some stereo spread also on the BX console, removing some of that low information. Compressing just a touch and adding a lot of 2K information. That's what I did on that. Now let's move to the bass. The bass was really important for the track because it was the main element of the verse.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back with mama.
The original bass was mono. I wanted to add some stereo spread on the bass. Let me show you what I did. This is a distortion saturation with it. This is a really nice plugin that I've been using a lot lately. I'm just distorting, adding some harmonic saturation to the lows and then to the mids. So with this, I'm making the bass cut to the mix. They sounded really nice. Plugin that I use sometimes to enhance the stereo spread or to create some stereo spread on 808s is the imager from Ozone. As you can see, I'm just spreading the top end, that fizz, just a touch. Then I'm spreading the 2 to 10K range. And the mids just a bit. So that's how I've created a stereo bass. Then I have the C4. Just keeping the low end of the 808 under control. Let's go to the intro piano. I really like the piano chords and I wanted to enhance the emotion from the piano. With the BX console, I removed some of the low end. One plugin that I like to use on piano is this Greg Wells piano plugin. It's from Waves. It's a one knob plugin, but I really enjoy what it does. This plugin has just a knob. With this knob you can change the character of the piano. Let me show you how it sounds. So around here it sounded the best for me. I've added a touch of the doubler and a touch of the delay. It's a really short delay, just creating some ambience. The black box is here to enhance the highs. That's on the piano. Let's move to the second piano. On the second piano, Stereo Savage, using the rotation and the panning to move the piano to the left. I'm using Suit to remove some of the resonant frequency on the piano. Then I have a Pro Q2. Again, removing some frequencies. A touch of compression, and last in the chain is the same piano plugin from Greg Wells. I wanted to use it just for the delay and for the doubler. It adds a really nice feel to the piano. The strings in the intro are pretty important. Let me play you that section. As you can see on the string bus, a lot of processing. I wanted to nail the sound of the string section in the intro. On the individual channels, just a touch of processing, nothing too crazy. The string section from the intro continued into the first hook. The original wave file was like this. I just duplicated and cut the intro. I wanted the first section to be really big and the second section to be just in the background to create some ambience. That's why I have a different processing. On the violin I have BX console, removing some of the low end. Let me show you what processing I have on the string bus. To increase the stereo depth, Maggie Q2, just a touch of the airband, and then a lot of 1K. BX console, removing some of the top end. CLA 2A, compressing the string bus. The producer wanted really warm string section. The original string section didn't have that much low end, so I had to use R bass to add some of that low end back. To add some of that warmth. Then I have a Pultec style EQ. Pro Q2 cleaning up some of that mid frequencies. A 7 Heaven, I wanted the string section to sound cohesive. That's why I'm using 7 Heaven as an insert. It's a pretty short reverb, C6. And Dr. MS to create even more stereo spread. Now let me play you without any processing. On the strings as a reverb, I have this Valhalla vintage verb with a large random hole preset. Then I have this brass tab just in the intro. I've added a delay. This is a quarter of a note, and the same large hole reverb. Removed some of the low end. I've added some 4K. I have bussed together these two elements from the verse. Let me play you one at a time. So it's a piano and a bell, a strange bell. Let me show you the processing. I find piano really hard to mix, that's why I'm using the piano centric. It does a really nice job. It's straightforward, I don't have any tweaking to do. It's the same processing done on the first piano, I think. Really similar with the addition of the PX console. On the bell pad, I have the console again, removing some of the low end and adding the large hole reverb, stereo savage just to increase a bit of the image, and I'm adding the rotation with the LFO synced to the tempo of the track. The bell is moving from the left to the right. Something like that. Then I have compressor and soot at the end of the chain. The piano centric on the piano bass. I had the high pass filter disengaged, that's why I didn't hear anything. Let's see, where's the pad? The pad. This is the pad. BX console, removing the low end and removing some 1K, making room for the vocals, and soot again. This is without any processing, just with the sends, and with the processing it sounds something like this. It sounds a bit nastier, same type of processing as on all of my tracks, removing the low end. I'm using this degrader plugin, I really enjoy it. This is reducing the sample rate and the bit depth, adding some saturation. I will have a review on the plugin sometimes soon. Compression. And the same C4 from the bass, Synth Dream. Just removing the low end and removing some 800 hertz on the lead. With the BX console, I'm removing the low end, I'm removing the top end. With the filter shaper, I'm just removing the high end and adding some resonance. Shaper box, panning, left to right, and some compression with the CLA2A. Not some, a lot of compression. I'm smashing the compressor. And I have the delay that I'm using on the rap vocals. This pad is present just in the second verse. It sounds something like this. With the processing, something like this. BX console, removing low end, micro shift, using it to add some stereo spread. And Pro Q2, carving some of that nasty frequencies in the vocal range. I want to make some room for the vocals, the tag of the producer. Just adding some reverb and some delay. Next, let's move to the fun part, the vocals. Let me break down the processing that I did on the vocals, on the intro, on the singing part.
Story. And this is my song. And this is my song. Praising my Savior all a day long. Yeah. This is my story. And this is my song.
In the beginning of the track, I tried a few different things. I had this delay throw on, this pretty long one note delay. I felt that is a bit too much. I didn't use it in the final track. I will show you now all the sends.
My story. And this is my song.
Reverb, 7th Heaven Professional.
My savior on a day long.
A short delay, the same delay used on the rap vocals.
My story. And this is my song.
Adding some depth, and to finish it off I have H delay.
Song. Praising my savior on a day.
When it comes to processing, this is what I have. PX console, removing the low end and adding some top end. This is a shelf at 8K. Next I have Autotune Pro doing some pitch correction. Next C6, removing some nasty frequencies. I'm using this more as a control plugin.
Day long, yeah. This is my story. And this
Let me show you what frequencies I'm controlling with the C6.
is my song.
This nasal frequency sounded pretty nasty. I wanted to control that. It's at around 2K. Controlling the lower mids, the boxiness of the vocals around 200 Hz.
And this is my
Controlling the lows
song.
and a touch of the highs. Then next in the chain, a de-esser. This is from Waves.
My story. And this is my song.
Pro Q2, corrective stuff, removing some resonant frequencies. RVox, compressing the singing part.
My story. And this is my song. Praising my savior on a day long.
That's how I processed the intro vocals. Let me bypass everything.
My story. And this is my song. Praising my savior on a day long. Yeah.
Next, let's move to the hook.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here. Which one you gonna choose? Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? It's only two roads out here. Which one you gonna choose?
3 vocals on the hook, 2 singing the same part, and 1 doing some ad-libs. So I've panned the 2 ones slightly to the left and slightly to the right.
Choose. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Added some delay and some reverb. The same processing done on the 2 tracks, just removing some of that low frequencies. With this Sound Toy CQ, I've added some top end. I drived the vocals, removed some of the low end, and adding some 3.5K.
It's only two roads out here. Which one you gonna choose? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Then on the hook add.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
PX console, this is what I'm doing with it, removing some of the bass. C6, the same principle as the singing part, the triple D.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
C1, this is a pretty old plugin from Waves. I'm removing some 200 Hz.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
It has a preset called de-esser, that's what I'm using, and select the frequency that is annoying and adjust the threshold. That's all you have to do with the plugin. Next, it's a de-esser.
What you gonna do?
Just a touch of de-essing. Pro Q2, corrective stuff. I'm adding with this API some top end and some low end.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Subtle, nothing too drastic. Then I have a C4. With the C4 I'm controlling the low end and the top end.
What you gonna do?
Pro Q2.
What you gonna do?
I have the resonant frequency around 500 Hz. I had to remove that, and some around 700 Hz.
What you gonna do?
That nasal tone in the vocal. Then I have another de-esser.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Really subtle, and the Alvox using the gate.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Not doing that much gain reduction, not applying that much compression on the actual track. Let's move to the verse. As you can see, it's pretty much the same processing. Just a few things are changed. Low end, C6, same thing.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18. Back with mama.
With the triple D, I'm using the DSR2, and I have different frequencies. A different frequency on the C1, a low cut, a DSR.
Mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah. Doing my thing with no regard for salvation. Living life like vacation. My soul was starving.
Adding some 8K, C4.
Starving, mind in the cloud. Starving, letting go of we.
Another Pro Q.
He was defending this.
And at the end, a DSR.
I was deep in it. Ain't have 1 foot, I had 2 feet in it. Drowning in the water of my sins, I was sinking in it. Yeah, I've been forgiven. Won't fall, won't look back.
Now let's move to the ad-libs.
Change, ayy. Tang, ayy. Martin Luther King. But
Same processing done on the ad-libs with the BX console. Just removing some of that low end. On the ad-lib bus, I have the Pro Q2 doing some filtering.
Boulevard. No regard.
I wanted the ad-libs to sound a bit darker than the lead, a DSR.
Change, ayy. Tang, ayy.
C4, this is more drastic.
Martin Luther King.
Arvox, compressing.
Boulevard. No regard.
And I have the Valhalla room as an insert.
Change, ayy. Tang, ayy. Was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. Doing my thing.
One of the ad-libs moving from left to right, as you can see the automation here, and one is panned to the left. We have some stutters.
Age of 18. Back when mama was stressing. Age of 18. Back when mama was stressing. Age of 18. Back when mama was stressing. Age of 18. Back when mama.
On the hook I have a pretty similar processing as the verse. The hook sounds more thinner than the verse. That was my intention. This is the vocal bus.
Y'all should know I've been changed since the age of 18.
First in the chain is a C4 controlling some of that mid frequency and some of that low frequency.
Back when mama was stressing, walking down Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's the boulevard. My thing.
And I'm compressing all the vocals together with this CLA 2A.
Thing with no regard for salvation. Living life like vacation. My soul was starving. Mind in the clouds like Marvin.
On my vocal bus, I usually have soot and spiff. Soot is here to remove some of that digital harshness.
Defending accomplice. I was deep in it. Ain't have 1 foot, I had 2 feet in.
And spiff is here to control the mouth clicks and some sharp transients resulting from the compression. It's just smoothing the vocals out.
In it, drowning in the water of my sins, I was sinking in it. Yeah, I've been back. The wages of sin is death, and I ain't really trying to pay tax. That's facts, and you can do the math, my brother. 30 years of life in a thing with a chicken wing. When you talking about eternity without Christ, so what you gon' do? What you gon' do? What you gon' do? What you gon' do? It's only 2 roads out here. Which one you gon' choose? Yeah. What you gon' do? What you gon' do? What you gon' do? It's only 2 roads out here.
So I think that I've showed you most of the processing that I did on the track. Beside this, on the final mix, I had some extra automation and some extra fine tuning on the plugins. But this is mainly how the mix sounded in its final form. I hope you enjoyed this long video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I will try and answer that. Please subscribe, hit the notification button, drop a like, leave a comment with suggestions. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. See you guys next time. Cheers.